Woman of the Hour tells the story of Cheryl Bradshaw, a struggling actress that gets the opportunity to enter a dating game show, only to find out that one of the contestants is actually a serial killer. Going into this movie, I was really interested to see what Anna Kendrick was going to do behind the camera. This is her directorial debut, so this seemed like a perfect project for her. It's very small, it's very contained, and it was going to be tackling a story that I was unfamiliar. But whenever you're able to make a story like this really interesting, then I'm going to be all ears. And this movie takes a very interesting approach in which we're not really following the serial killer for a majority of this movie. We see his heinous acts be played out, but we're watching this movie in this perspective of the survivors or the victims in this case. The fact that we were going to be taking this approach had me a little bit more invested in what we were actually going to be getting, and I thought this was a solid entry for Anna Kendrick to direct. She was able to build a lot of the atmospheric and the tension that you kind of want in this scenario, because in this scenario what we got here is kind of a Ted Bundy situation where this guy was able to ooze these women with his charm and be able to play to their strings and be able to tell them what they all wanted to hear.
Bachelor number 3, I'm counting on you. What are girls for?
What are girls for?
Yeah, that's right.
I guess I'd have to say that that's up to the girl.
It's a very good answer. Oh, yeah, we love that.
Which I thought was really interesting. When you have a movie like this based on true events, I don't need this movie to be as true to the events that actually happened in order for me to get really invested. As long as you're able to convey the events that happen in a very disturbing manner, then that's all that I ask for in order for a story like this to be really investing. And the fact that they're able to tell the story through the perspective of the victims, I thought was really neat, and I really enjoyed seeing a lot of that because Anna Kendrick was able to construct some wonderful moments of tension when it came down to the events that played out. We're about to see back and forth from present day to back to Cheryl on the dating game, seeing how she was able to get oozed by him and win a date with him. I thought some of the set pieces in here were there. The pieces for this movie were there, and I really enjoyed what Anna Kendrick was able to bring to the table. The thing about this movie is the fact that it bounces back and forth from present day to the game show era. We're seeing the struggles that Cheryl is going through. She's having a little bit hard time trying to get these gigs because of her appearance. When she gets on the game show, the host of the game show kind of is looking down on her appearance and kind of wants her to wear something else to make her a little bit more approachable in front of the camera. So seeing that perspective, I really enjoyed. They gave her some questions for her to read off in order for her to pick a guy for her to go on a date with. And then she kind of switches the tables. I thought the moments we had with the game show, I thought worked really well, and I kind of wish we had a little bit more of that in here because I thought that is where most of the fascinating things happen here. The way the movie kicks off with a very chilling opening, I really dug, and that is something that really got me invested. The issue for me when it came down to this movie is the fact that for a majority of this movie, I was kind of uninterested in what was going outside of the game show and kind of wish we were able to stick with the game show a little bit more to see a little bit more of that transpire. There's a great moment between Zavoto and Kendrick in a parking lot that had me holding my breath and was really invested in seeing what was going to happen between these two characters. Was she able to make it out alive? Was she not? That is something that I kind of wish we had a little bit more of throughout the entire film. We also have some characters popping in here and there. We're following another character who lost her friend due to Zavoto's malicious acts, and I kind of wish we had a little bit more of that side and be able to develop that a little bit more because it just felt a little bit shoo-in. I know what they were trying to go for, and I know what they were trying to go for with that character, but the movie clocks in at about an hour and a half, and I feel like a lot of these beats don't really get enough time to breathe because it feels like we're brushing through a lot and not getting the full scope of what actually happened. And I think that is because we're being told from the perspective of the victims and seeing how everything transpired between them, seeing how their grisly end happened. I kind of wish we had a little bit more of the Rodney Alaka side, a tad bit more, to get a little bit more in not just the headspace of the victims, but also in the headspace of Rodney just wish we had a little bit more. To me, this was a solid entry. Anna Kendrick directs this movie beautifully. You see her directorial chops in here. She was able to build some wonderful moments of tension, especially when it came down to that parking lot scene. I just kind of wish we had a little bit more of that tension, a little bit more of that atmospheric, and seeing a little bit more of the Rodney side, and still being able to be told from the perspective of the victim. But those are my thoughts on Women of the Hour. Have you guys checked it out? Is this a movie that you really love, or is this a movie that you're kind of down in the middle and kind of wanted a little bit more? Go ahead and drop your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys for the next